Hey,
Howdy.
you're not Tom.
Not yet, I'm not.
You're going to be Tom?
I don't think either of us are winning NFL Fan of the Year anytime soon.
No, 100% not. But welcome to That's Good Sports. I am here with my writing partner, Will Keys. If you don't know, Will and I write every single episode of That's Good Sports together. We co-host a Broncos podcast over on the That's Good Broncos channel. And today, there's just some football stuff I wanted to talk about. Tom, busy in Las Vegas. Didn't do GPS this morning, so Will and I are going to break down some of the award things I want to talk about because I find it interesting, and maybe do a little Super Bowl matchup and whatever else today on Brandon and Will Fuck with Football.
What would it be?
What were you going to say? What were you going to say?
I was going to say, what are our initials? If it was not GPS, I guess it would be KPS.
Keys Perna Show. Yeah.
Yeah.
PKS, Perna Keys Show.
Doesn't quite roll off the tongue, does it?
Will and Brandon's Secret Podcast.
Yeah, that's pretty good. That one's pretty good. Things we're not going to do anytime soon. Win any awards, host SNL.
Yeah, those are out of reach for us. I live streamed last night while the NFL Honors was happening when Tom won the award. We raised over $11,000 for solving kids' cancer. So again, thank you guys. Like, I don't take that shit lightly. The fact that you showed up, you donated for just a tremendous cause and a charity that, like, our dollars over there go a long way to help keep them running, to help kids who need the treatments and the funding. So thank you guys. I really mean it. And I didn't know if Tom and I were going to do a show this morning. Mm-hmm. It was kind of up in the air. And last night I texted Tom and Johnny and I told them they better be celebrating and getting drunk. And literally for like the first time ever, Tom said, "You know it," or something like that. And he's never out celebrating. He's always like, "I got work to do. I can't celebrate right now." So I texted him this morning. I was like, Are you alive, awake, in a coma? What are we doing? And usually he responds like in 2 seconds. Took a while. He's like, "I just got up. Let's just have a great show Monday." So I'm happy they went out, him and Barks, celebrating, partying, well earned.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I'm here with Will and I talk about the Broncos roughly once a week on That's Good Broncos, our other YouTube channel. And again, Will's helped me write every episode for most every episode. 99.9%.
99.2, yeah. Yeah, in April, I think it'll be 6 years.
6 years. Dang.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
That's wild. I still remember the first one I wrote.
What was the first episode you ever wrote?
It was something to do with Brent Musburger. Or Blake Bortles. AJ McCarron, and I brought in Brent Musburger because remember when he was
gawking
at his then fiance, I think.
Yeah, he's like, "Look at AJ McCarron's girlfriend. Oh my God, I am Brent Musburger."
Shooting dust into his pants.
Yeah, I remember. What's CPOT?
Comeback Player of the Year.
Comeback Player of the Year. God. Actually, that's fair. Why would that is actually pretty fair. We're gonna get into this. Thank you. Ecleron man.
Yes, thank you, Ecleron man.
Yeah. Actually, I love that. I love Breece Hall getting thrown in as a possible comeback player of the year, and maybe we should just start there. Will comeback player of the year? I want to say I want to give out some awards that the NFL should also give out in addition, and how we can maybe fix the NFL honors a little bit. But yeah, let's start. Where's my little stupid rundown? Oh, yeah. Today's episode sponsored by Underdog Fantasy. You can use code Let's Ride or code That's Good. Link in the description to sign up. I'll show you my Super Bowl picks in a little bit on Underdog. So Joe Flacco wins comeback player of the year.
Yeah.
Which he was not hurt. He just is old and nobody thought he was good anymore, so he wasn't on a team. And then we know what happens. He joins the Browns, which were a good football team. He came in, threw some fucking bombs, won some games, and he won the award over Damar Hamlin, over Breece Hall, over, I think Matthew Stafford was in the running there, as was Baker Mayfield. And the voting stops before the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit silly.
Damar's fake punt did not wasn't adding to wasn't factoring in to the voting at all.
I never retweet NFL memes because I know they're just stealing their stuff from somewhere else.
Yeah.
And I retweeted them once last night and I almost retweeted them twice. I'm sure it came from somewhere else. But when I saw Sean McDermott won jihadist of the year, that got a verbal laugh from me in bed. And when Patrick Mahomes Sr. won DUI of the year, that's the one I retweeted.
That's good.
That got me. The other thing about the playoffs too, there is, let's be honest, the Browns lost the playoff game because Joe Flacco fucking sucked in the second half.
He threw back-to-back pick sixes.
Yeah, like he threw two of the worst passes in the entire postseason. Mm-hmm. And I'm not trying to just crap on Joe Flacco. I'm happy that he did what he did. And last night watching it and listening to him, Flacco's such a nice guy. You can't not like Joe Flacco. And he's self-aware too. He's like, he was like, why am I even nominated for comeback player of the year? So I don't think he deserved it. Baker Mayfield is a little bit weird. He just got passed around a lot last year. He wasn't hurt. Yeah. And I think that needs to be what are they coming back from?
That's the whole point, is there's no guidelines for what this award means. There's no guidelines really for what most valuable player means. Is it the best player? Is it the most valuable? Or is it what it usually is just the quarterback with the best stats on the best team? Yeah. But there needs to be criteria, because there's so many ways you can interpret it. And it's if you have your own specific interpretation of what the award means, you're not voting for you're voting for Damar Hamlin, without a shadow of a doubt, or you could vote for you'd probably vote for Baker Mayfield if you're talking about coming back from, not personal adversity, but just a down year in your career versus coming back from injury, death, the ultimate injury, fair to say.
Yeah.
I know he wasn't really a factor on the field outside of that fake punt in the playoffs. But even stepping foot on the field and playing live snaps after, being temporarily deceased is what could be greater than that. And it's Alex Smith won comeback player of the year. He wasn't good.
Yeah.
The year after, but we all said, well, he had this horrific leg injury, and the fact that he made it back made him the comeback player of the year.
Yeah.
But we haven't decided what it means.
Yeah, no, all of that's fair. And I think for a player, I think this is where I want to talk about the awards we should give out. So I think maybe for a guy like Baker, I think a more appropriate award would be bounce back player of the year. I think comeback player has to be a guy who overcame a serious injury and then came back and, made an impact in some form, like Breece Hall.
We should separate these.
Yeah. I think Peyton Manning, when he won it with his neck surgeries after missing the whole year, that's appropriate. Bounce back player, or if like you and I were naming it, it would be like We Thought You Were Dead award. Yeah. Well, no, see, that was Lamar. That was DeMar. He should have won too. I meant that facetiously, but like, he's the only guy I think in NFL history that I know of who died on a football field. His heart stopped.
Yeah.
For a period of time and then was playing again next year. He received the most first place votes. But there's this weird new tallying system where first place votes get 5 points, second place votes get 3, third place get 1. And Damar Hamlin had the most first place votes, and then Joe Flacco had the most second place votes, which makes sense. But then like Damar got very little second place votes. So there's this handful of AP writers who voted him third. So my other problem with this system is we've got fucking nerds, writers. Sorry, nerds. You're sitting there, you're writing, and you're talking about football, and I'm one of them. Okay, I am one of them. I am one. But to be like, yeah, dying's not that impressive in playing. Like, screw off, dude.
Well, here's the thing. Like, if it was just, you pick one guy and vote for him, Damar Hamlin would have won.
Correct.
But because people have these different, personal beliefs on what this rule means or what this award means to them, either you're voting Hamlin first or he's not in the top 2 or 3.
Yeah, because you're like, I'm voting in on what the person did on the field.
Yeah.
So it's a different criteria that you're.
Yeah, and if that's how you see the award, I get it.
Yeah,
that's fine too.
Yeah,
I just think we need to make more sense of, establishing some kind of criteria.
Yeah, hell yeah, Alec. Anybody, you're all welcome to freeload here. Your visual support is all I demand. On it, the monetary support's amazing. So I think you've got like whoever's in the AP writers thing or whatever, they get to vote, and there's 50 votes, and that's basically it rules all of it.
Yes, and it's an extremely, small number of people who vote. Yeah, given the magnitude of these awards.
I know. To me, it feels like there should be the voting that happens at the end of the regular season. And that kind of gets your category of dudes, and that gives everybody a chance who didn't make the playoffs to be considered, because that's part of it. And then 3 weeks later, because you're going to have all the names, all the guys going, there should be like a secondary vote where it's like, oh, actually, Dan Campbell got the Lions to the NFC Championship game. I voted for a different coach, week 17 or 18 or whatever it is, but like this part's pretty important. I want to change my vote to Dan being number 1 and this coach.
I agree. I think you should get one mulligan. Around the third week of the playoffs.
Yeah.
Because if you voted Joe Flacco comeback player of the year, and that's a reasonable thing to do based on what he did in the regular season, and you saw how he played in Houston, you could go, scratch that. Actually, I take it back.
I take it back.
Because the wild card Saturday is basically the regular season. It's just glorified regular season.
No, that's true. It really is. And usually I don't even think about these awards, but I think because we were watching them live and we were waiting for Tom, I paid a little bit more attention, and I just was thinking about him last night, like a real nerd who should be allowed to vote for these guys. I don't know. Whenever I should be going to sleep and I'm thinking about why Flacco isn't comeback player of the year, I'm like,
it's that meme. It's that classic meme with the wife next to her.
Oh, and I'm turned away.
Yeah. He's thinking about other women, and then
I'm thinking about why Joe Flacco. Yeah. 100%. Yeah. this is a good point too. Like Flacco was dealing picks even when he was like, but he gave the Browns a spark. Okay. And so much more so than really what Flacco did is shining a negative light on Deshaun Watson. And from what I remember, it's the only negative light that's ever been
we were thinking
him.
too favorably of Deshaun Watson before that.
Yeah. Okay. So I think Flacco should have been given the not in a million years did we predict this happening award. I think that should happen. Like every year there's something where like nobody would have guessed this before the season started.
Yeah.
I think that needs to be an award.
I'm down with that.
And then I think we got to break apart the awards a little bit more to satisfy people. Maybe we can still have MVP, but we got to change the parameters of that just a little bit. It can't be like which quarterback has the best stats, because there should be a best quarterback award, a best running back award, a best receiver, a best tight end, because tight ends, even when they're really good, it's going to be hard for them to crack. Best tight end, best edge rusher, best defensive back. Because like, why not just acknowledge each of these groups? That way everybody because like Lamar Jackson wins MVP. That's fine. Because Christian McCaffrey got Offensive Player of the Year. It's kind of like the trade-off.
That always confuses me too.
Like, let's just break it down a little bit more. Let's make it a little more convoluted. I would say let's have less Kirk Cousins and a bunch of shirtless guys dancing, but I actually want to see more of that in the award show.
Yeah.
Just less bullshit in between. Just add more awards for football fans. I think that's more appealing.
The NBA has some interesting awards too. Like they've always had most improved player, which I think would
that's the bounce back.
It's
player,
easy,
right?
Well, I guess it can be, but it's mostly like it's kind of a breakout player.
Okay,
it'd be like Josh Allen going from 2019 to 2020 would have been landslide most improved player. It's usually reserved for a young player kind of hitting their stride, but I think that's a good one. And then last year they started doing the clutch player of the year.
Ooh,
which,
I like that.
By the way, Sacramento Kings point guard De'Aaron Fox won the first one, but
there you go.
Clutch player of the year I think would be a lot of fun.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Like a kicker could get that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
I
think going to a quarterback, but still.
Yeah. And see, like Christian McCaffrey wins Offensive Player of the Year. He could have been considered for MVP. But like I put in this like list here, best running back. Like if we're breaking it out and you don't have to give McCaffrey best running back, like I think Kyren Williams emerged as like the best in one of the most important players.
He's probably like, if they had that award, he's probably most improved player.
Right. From his second year, right? That's sophomore season, Kyren Williams. Yeah. And then I think like you add other fun stuff. Worst game.
Yeah, worst game would be sweet. I think we get to decide that one. That's our corner.
Worst game goes to the Denver Broncos this year. We all know the game. We all remember the game.
Yep. No one knows bad games like us.
They gave best moment to CeeDee Lamb's catch against the Lions.
I can't even think that doesn't even really ring a bell.
I remember the play. It's a great play by CeeDee, but it wasn't even the best moment in that game.
No.
I think they need to have worst officiating call, which would have went to that game. It would have been the 2-point play they called back. Best moment for me, Will, angry Mark Davis right before he fired Josh McDaniels. That's the best. Worst moment, David Tepper throwing his drink on a fan. Boom. NFL wins by being a little bit self-deprecating.
And they should have Tepper come up and receive the award.
Yeah, and he has to apologize.
Yeah, and you have to do it as he goes up like that. You don't get fined or anything. Like I like that. Don't even because what does a fine mean to David Tepper?
Nothing.
But what does mean something is public humiliation.
Yeah. It's
So
like,
here's what happens. Either we force you out of ownership, or you have to go on stage at NFL Honors and receive the worst moment award to to thunderous boos and
yeah.
prepare at least 1 minute speech.
Yeah, an apology. Honestly, I think there would be a handful of NFL owners who would just give away their team rather than apologize in public.
Yeah, imagine like Dan Snyder having to apologize.
Yeah, just like, no, you can have it.
Yeah, yeah, I don't like football anymore.
Yeah, I also think best collapse should be an award, and the Jaguars, I think, ran away with it this year, losing 5 of their last 6 games, missing the playoffs. There would be some candidates,
Eagles and Jags would be
Eagles. Eagles might top them. You're right. Holy shit. Mm-hmm. Best collapse. Biggest collapse.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Depends. Yeah, I mean, their collapse didn't keep them out of the playoffs, but it definitely extended to the playoffs.
Yeah. And I think you'll agree with this, in that this was the best year we've had in a while to not give MVP to a quarterback.
Yeah.
And Lamar Jackson ran away with it with 49 first place votes, and Josh Allen got 1.
Yeah, and I don't know if you saw this, but Stephen A. Smith was really mad this morning that one person voted for Josh Allen. Yeah, it's like you can make a very good argument for Josh Allen as MVP. You can make arguments for about 5 different players. This was not a unanimous MVP kind of year. This wasn't Peyton throwing 55 touchdowns and breaking the yardage record. Lamar Jackson, great season. Not his best season.
No,
by any means. 2019 was better by every measure.
He was unanimous MVP that year for a reason. Like, you watched him, you're like, he is doing shit we haven't seen in a while. And if you take him off this team, they are nothing.
But when you get 50 people to vote for this, and 50 AP writers, they generally know each other pretty well.
Yeah.
They run in the same circles. It creates this hive mind.
Yes.
Where suddenly the narrative starts swirling. And you know how many players we cycled through for MVP? People weren't even talking about Lamar Jackson until Brock Purdy lost it on Christmas night. And then it shifted to, well, Lamar Jackson's clearly the MVP. And I'm not saying he's not. It's just we went through phases of Dak to Purdy to Jackson and to Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah. Jalen Hurts was before those guys.
Yeah,
too.
Hurts was probably the first one.
Yeah.
And it's just whoever's good last.
That's
really is what
whichever quarterback is good last. That's who it is.
You just be even throughout most of the season, don't have a terrible game, and then be good at the end. And that's how you win MVP.
It's weird. If you're the quarterback and your team's the best, it helps you. Mm-hmm. If you're Christian McCaffrey, who's probably the best player on one of the most stacked rosters, kind of hurts his chances for MVP. Yeah. But the hive mind is exactly what I was thinking about last night and today, and it's why I wanted to even talk about this. The people, I feel like people are scared to push their own opinion that they actually believe.
Yeah.
When they know that saying Lamar Jackson is MVP becomes easier and nobody's really going to say no. I'm not going to argue against Lamar Jackson for that award. I just think there were other guys when I thought Josh Allen, you could make a better case for MVP this season than Lamar Jackson. I think you can make a better case for McCaffrey. I think you can make an equal case possibly for Purdy and Dak. Dak, statistically, you can easily comp.
I thought Dak was kind of the odd man out this year. I think if I had a vote, I would have strongly considered Dak. And
especially with just the regular season sample size.
Yeah. Yeah. And I want people to have a difference of opinion.
Yeah.
I don't want 49. If it's tight, if there's zero question who the MVP is, it can be unanimous. But if it's like it's kind of close, it shouldn't happen that 95% of voters vote the same way. That feels kind of like suspicious.
Yeah, I think like if we saw it and Lamar got like 20 votes, Dak had like 17, Josh Allen had 8, I'd be like, okay, at least people were thinking about it objectively. But it happens.
Attack this like through different kind of lenses. Like some people use kind of the baseball way to judge an MVP and say, I don't care how good your team was, you can give this award to Mike Trout or Shohei Ohtani on the 95 Los Angels because the analytics show that they were the best players. And if that's how you want to judge MVP according to your own guidelines, I get that. If you're more of a narrative person, or you think like their team had to be good, they had to play the most crucial part in their team's success, that's another way to look at it.
Yeah.
I don't know how everybody arrives at the same conclusion though.
No, I don't either. The just Lamar is the MVP now. It's just like a thing that manifested and we all kind of agreed on it.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, yep, he is.
You're kind of just like afraid to say no.
Yeah, and it takes work to make an argument against it. Like if you're a Bills fan and you watch Josh Allen pretty closely, it comes easy to you. I watched a fair amount of Buffalo Bills football, so it's easier for me to be like, you take him out of there, and the Bills are fucked. Like they are just absolutely fucked.
Yeah, you go from Josh Allen to Kyle Allen.
Yeah,
that's probably like a 2
get out of here. Game. And the thing, like, and this is so funny too, to like make this argument, like the thing that Lamar Jackson is getting credit for is running the football, and Josh Allen isn't getting the same kind of credit for it.
Yeah.
Which is good. Like if anybody deserves like to have that maybe weigh a little more heavily for him, it is definitely Lamar Jackson, because he had like 800 some rushing yards. Josh Allen had like 500 some, and nobody else like cracked 500, and it's a big part of their game. But anyway, I feel better after getting all that off the last one was Coach of the Year. Steven Stefanski wins.
Steven Stefanski, of course, yeah. Okay, here's my thing with that. How are you? Okay, you have to pick between Flacco and Stefanski. If Stefanski's the Coach of the Year, then he can make it work with anybody, clearly.
Yeah.
Then you don't award Flacco.
Yeah.
But if you think Flacco's the comeback player of the year, is he because he's benefiting from the Coach of the Year? I don't know.
Yeah. Stefanski is getting a lot of credit for saying yes to signing Joe Flacco. Would be fair, right?
Yeah, he did win with a lot of quarterbacks this season. They started
he did
quarterbacks.
I think Stefanski's a hell of a coach.
Yeah.
Browns were good. But he's getting a lot of credit for signing Joe Flacco.
My point exactly.
No repercussions, though, for signing King sex offender, though, right? Like
not just signing, trading multiple.
Dude, like I can't forgive him for that shit. Like I don't care. Like I'll never be able to be like, you know what? Love Kevin Stefanski for giving the okay to make Deshaun Watson the richest guaranteed player ever. Like I'm not going to be able to forgive that. And then to see Watson suckish, like he was okay at best.
It's like, okay, well, it's a bad move morally and ethically. It's also a bad football move.
Yes, thank you.
Makes no sense on 2 levels.
And he's already won it. He's already won Coach of the Year.
Yeah,
and
big night for the Browns.
Yeah,
because they got Myles Garrett too, right?
Yeah. So if you want to like give Stefanski the credit for winning with a quarterback who had done it for 15 years, had won Super Bowl MVP, fine. But also, if you're just doing a straight comp like DeMeco Ryans, rookie, Texans had 2 rookies of the year, so they should get credit for drafting those guys, even though they, CJ fell to them too. And CJ was just awesome. But like, talk about coaching up a team that nobody had expectations for. Like people expected the Browns to be good. Nobody expected the Texans. I would have been a lot happier with DeMeco getting it over Kevin Stefanski. And joking aside, like I think Stefanski's a great coach, but I don't know how Dan Campbell only gets 3 votes for Coach of the Year. I think people are shortchanging the 3 years of what the Lions did. And maybe it's not fair to do the whole sample size there, but the Lions were dead. They had their franchise quarterback traded away. Nobody really wanted that job. We did a whole video about Dan Campbell, so that's fresh in my mind as well. Brad Holmes, they're a great duo. What was their first season together? How many wins did the Lions have with Dan Campbell?
It was something like 13-1.
Yeah, 3 wins to barely miss into the playoffs to NFC Championship game. And some people will say, well, yeah, but people expected the Lions to be good. They expected them to maybe make the playoffs, and they went to the championship game. They did shit their franchise hadn't done in 30 years. They did that. The championship game was 50 or 60 years. And the reason, like, it is so, like, I don't know. It's hard to give Dan Campbell too much credit for turning that team into what it is. Their mentality, the way they play. Jared Goff plays well with Ben Johnson. Campbell brought in Ben Johnson. Okay. Like, there's so many reasons to me where people who watch football should be like, that guy did a lot.
Well, it's another award where we don't have a definition of what it is. It's like, is it the coach who's done the most with the least?
Yeah.
The coach who's overcome the most injuries, coach that defied expectations, or just the best coach?
Yeah.
In which case, like, it's just Andy Reid should probably win it every year, or Kyle Shanahan.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
If we're treating it like MVP and it's just the best person at their position.
Yeah, it was like I remember, I think probably talking to you about, like, Belichick can't even get considered for it.
Yeah.
Like, after a certain point, it's like, how's he going to top himself? Like,
Right.
They already expect it. Once you're expected,
we don't do that
to
with
be that
MVP, you know?
Yeah.
If Aaron Rodgers is the best player 2 years in a row, he's winning it 2 years in a row.
Yeah. And he was.
Yeah.
All right, real quick, let me show you guys what I did over at Underdog Fantasy. Nah, nah. Nah, 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 nah. All right. I did Brock Purdy higher than 1.5 passing TDs. Brandon Aiyuk over 59 receiving yards. I did Rashee Rice over 67. That one I feel like is going to be close. MVS over 19. Hell yeah. He's going to catch one ball for like 36 yards.
Yep.
Easy. And then Mahomes for over 25.5 rushing yards. Now, if this were the regular season for Mahomes, I'd be like, I don't know. I swear to God, every postseason, he lifts off at least one 25-yard run. So those are my picks. Again, Underdog sponsoring the show. You can use code Let's Ride. Link in the description. You can use code That's Good. You can use code GPS. Use any of those codes. I'm mashing them all together right now. But it was fun to set those. They have a player special right now for the Super Bowl. Patrick Mahomes, Christian McCaffrey. And if you're a current existing user on Underdog, you qualify for their $1 million Super Bowl giveaway. If you're not signed up, you don't qualify. So if you're thinking about it, you got a chance to win $1 million. I'm not saying you're going to. It's a long shot, okay? It's a long shot to win $1 million.
I don't know. Don't tell them that.
Actually, I should have asked for a boost where their name gets entered multiple times if they use my code for the $1 million. But, Super Bowl, this is a good game to do higher or lowers, especially if you're mad about whoever's going to win or you're not interested. That's why I'm doing it. Keep me interested.
I might do some myself.
Boom. Okay. Now, this is what I wanted to. Let me bring this guy up. I thought this stat was interesting because, okay, so if the Chiefs win the Super Bowl, Will and I are going to be doing a Patrick Mahomes GOAT episode. And I think Will and I are in the same boat where we think the GOAT conversation is really just stupid.
Yes.
I hate it. It's a nuanced conversation, and it's again like what we've just been bitching about. Like, what determines that? But everybody's going to talk about it, and so we'll make the case for why Patrick Mahomes is the GOAT or not. I don't even know yet. Probably 4 because I am genuinely more impressed with him than I ever was by Tom Brady, who people unanimously put in that conversation. And if Brock Purdy wins, we're going to have, if the Niners win, if this is the teams win the game. That's the other problem.
Yeah. No, it's Patrick Mahomes versus Brock Purdy.
Just those two guys. But we'll have a Brock Purdy episode because I think he's had an interesting, year altogether.
Yeah, absolutely.
But and I think we watch Brock Purdy and we're like, that's a good quarterback.
I do, yeah.
He's a good quarterback. There's no way getting around it. And then, was it? First things first. I actually brought up a good stat today, Will.
Whoa.
Oh, dang it. There we go. I thought this was interesting. So, Purdy has been labeled as the game manager, right?
Uh-huh.
And I think you're the one who brought this to my attention, that Mahomes' air yards per completion this season, I forget what video we're doing, but they're at the lowest it's ever been for Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
And nobody uses that as a knock on him because he's already had the success, right? He already has a Super Bowl ring. He's had to adapt the way the Chiefs play offense is basically what that stat means.
He's taken the Brady approach. And there's like reports of him watching and studying Brady. And you could really see it in the Ravens AFC Championship game too.
Yeah.
How he was very content on not pushing the ball down the field until he absolutely needed to, and like flipping field position because he knew that was going to win the game.
It's a good point, because that's what would infuriate me about Brady. It's like he's making all these easy throws, and at the time I didn't give him credit for it. Now, after seeing a lot of quarterbacks who can't make all the easy throws, I'm like, okay, there's something to be said for it.
Yeah.
And watching a dude like Mahomes, who just used to feast with Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce together, to me, this is also a Tyreek Hill stat where he didn't have that guy who he could trust deep regularly. Like, if he's going to buy 12 extra seconds, Tyreek Hill was always open. Always. And Mahomes had that freakish arm where he could get him the ball anywhere too, like Josh Allen. They're the only two quarterbacks who can do that, in my opinion. Maybe CJ Stroud now, and we'll see with Aaron Rodgers next year. But there's never a guy in a spot on the field they can't get the ball to. And Darius Toney, MVS, all these other guys, they were dropping shit. So it's like, take what's there. So this is happening, and nobody's criticizing the Chiefs for it. Well, actually, that's not fair. People are like, Chiefs aren't that good. They're not going to be in the Super Bowl this year. This is the year to beat them, and they're there. So they kind of proved us wrong there. And then Brock Purdy, he does take those easy shots, and I think you see those short throws in San Francisco turn into big plays more frequently than Kansas City right now, and that's what people remember. But statistically, he's pushing the ball downfield more than Mahomes. All of these numbers here say the opposite of what people criticize Brock Purdy for.
Yeah, you can also point to the fact he can extend plays too. If you go back to their last game, I think it was their last game of the season. Second to last week against Washington. He runs around in the backfield for 8 seconds and then finds a guy in the back of the end zone. He can do that too. But yeah, it is interesting too when you watch Patrick Mahomes from 2018, 2019 versus now. Everybody fell in love with Mahomes because of his arm and all his, deep shots to Tyreek Hill or Demarcus Robinson or whoever. It was Sammy Watkins. So it doesn't happen anymore. He doesn't really go deep. It just doesn't. You don't see it. And it's honestly because, A, you don't have the weapons to stretch the field anymore. B, maybe that's not the most effective way to win.
Yeah. It's not right now with how good their defense is too. Like like last year, their defense was very good, and it's a big reason they won the Super Bowl. This year, their defense was, top 5, top 3 in like all the key categories. And you watch them play, they're a good fucking defense. He knows he doesn't need to do that extra shit. Like, why put my defense in a bad position when we can just trust them to get a stop and we'll try again?
Generally, the Brady philosophy too.
Mm-hmm. Oh
over many years.
And that's the thing. Okay, so like, it's taking your shots, right? So you take everything that's given to you, and then the really good quarterbacks, when the deep shots are there, they're throwing accurate passes. That's the other thing that used to drive me crazy about Brady. I'm like, he had to make 2 deep throws in the game, but the balls were catchable and they were on target. And whether it was Gronk or Edelman or whoever down, Randy Moss, there's a different story, but like, they were there. Mahomes, that deep shot to close out the game against the Ravens, perfect to MVS, and he actually caught it. Lamar Jackson in that game took like 5 deep shots down the left sideline, and I think only one of them was a catchable ball that was completed.
Maybe Beckham was one of them. He took one deep shot. He definitely shouldn't have. That's for sure.
100%. So, both of them deserve credit. And I think like the yak percentage there, with the Chiefs being first and the Niners being 19th, like that's kind of funny. And that goes against what I was saying. Like, you watch the Niners, it feels like those short passes go for bigger plays, but maybe they actually don't.
Yeah, it's such an interesting matchup too. Like, I get not being excited about the teams that are playing, because I don't think a lot of people are. But these are, like, I think we obviously we both were rooting for the Lions, but this is the best team in the NFC. Like, for sure, probably. Yeah. And then you could probably argue both ways whether the Chiefs are the best team in the AFC. Because if you argue that they weren't, it's like, well, they just beat everybody who's good in the AFC to get here. So
I don't think there's any in the regular season. They were not the best team in the AFC.
Yeah.
But once the playoffs started, they were every week. They handled the Dolphins. They beat the Bills, and then they handled the Ravens. What they did against the Ravens was just a mix of like, the Chiefs are really good, and the Ravens played very stupid football.
Yeah, that's one where...
And that's the thing that makes me want to not give Lamar Jackson an MVP award.
Yeah, it is like, to extend the Brady analogy further, it's like teams try to do too much against the Chiefs sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
And the Chiefs know that, and therefore they don't take any serious chances.
Yep.
Because the other team's going to extend themselves. Like, Baltimore doesn't have to do that to beat them. They just have to, like, do what they normally do: run the ball, play sound defense. Throw it a few times to Zay Flowers, hope he doesn't fumble. Yeah. But they got like tight, obviously. Not to relitigate a game that happened almost 2 weeks ago at this point. But I do think the 2 best teams, all things considered, are in this game.
Because like, look, Detroit would have been fun, but their defense would be a huge X factor in the game against the Chiefs. And the Niners defense is not perfect, but I trust them more than I trust the Lions defense.
Yeah.
And this is fair too. Purdy's playing on a great team. Okay. And he is a good comp to Tom Brady as well, in that where he was drafted, what's expected of a guy who's drafted there. And again, go watch those first few Tom Brady years. It takes him a while to figure shit out. What Brock's done in a short amount of time is impressive. And top 10 quarterback, you want to call him that? I think that is totally fair. If he wins this game, he's going to get a lot more credit. And what he does when the Niners don't have the best a top 3 roster, we're going to get a better metric of how he carries a team. But like, if Kyle Shanahan was saying this week is true, like that he knew Brock Purdy was the best quarterback on the roster, like right away, that should give you a good gauge on where he's at, doing the things that like we as fans don't necessarily see or appreciate during games.
Yeah, I think Brady too is like talking about it recently. I don't know if you saw that. I think he was talking to Steve Young about just how like few quarterbacks can recognize defenses now at the line of scrimmage and change the play appropriately.
Yeah.
And now we give all the credit to
Russell
guys.
Wilson can't do that.
Yeah, no way. And we give the credit to guys kind of like Russell Wilson who make this incredible play where they run back and forth and find someone open and turn it into a schoolyard play. But that's kind of indicates that the quarterback made a mistake pre-play too.
Yeah.
And, Brock Purdy can extend the play when things go bad, but he's usually just kind of on the ball.
Yeah, he's good, dude. Brock Purdy's very good. I like WAPs. I do.
I like it.
I like people a little timid to say the name of our show.
Yeah.
Like, wait, is this a slur?
Yeah, is this a slur or is this about genitalia?
Yeah. I had to go get my WAP removed.
Yeah.
Got infected. They cut it out.
Wet ass P word. Ben Shapiro was doing that.
Oh yeah. Oh god. Oh fuck. I was gonna say one more thing. What was it? Oh my god, Brock Purdy.
Why don't we do?
Oh yeah. So this is what I think Russell Wilson does at the line of scrimmage. Is he goes up there and to me he kind of like Brett Favre's it maybe where he's like,
yeah,
I don't like what I see. I don't necessarily know what it is, but I'm just gonna kill the play and cut to the swing pass to the running back or whatever, or the run. Like I don't know exactly what I should be doing here. I just know this is not the right look.
Yeah, I know I shouldn't be doing this.
Yeah.
I don't know what the answer is necessarily.
And to be fair, that's how I would quarterback. I'd be like, yeah, that looks no. I'm gonna take the safe one.
It is so hilarious what happened to Favre too. How he was just like he was obviously always really talented, and for like his first 3 years, he just didn't know what defenses were.
Yeah,
like you didn't know cover 2 or nickel defenses or like basic stuff that a lot of fans know.
Yeah,
and then like when someone finally taught him, I think it might have been like Doug Peterson.
Oh, that's what you call that?
He turned into back-to-back MVP.
Yeah, it's insane. That's a ton of talent.
Yeah.
Like so much talent to be able to do that. And sometimes having that much talent puts you at a disadvantage because people expect more right away and they don't give you the luxury to learn. And luckily, Josh Allen got that luxury.
Yeah.
He's a really good example of that right now. Purdy, Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, Brock Purdy could be in that conversation if he goes on to have, a stellar career where they had to make up for some physical limitations early in their career. And that's like Tom could throw the fucking football. Peyton could throw the ball. Brock Purdy can throw the ball, but not the way like Aaron Rodgers can, not the way Mahomes could. They had to be spot on with all their other stuff, with dissecting the defenses to give them that advantage.
Right.
And once their body slowed down, it paid such dividends. Now, Brady did an interesting thing where he took care of his body better than those other guys. Like sometimes I think maybe Peyton Manning shouldn't have purchased 20 Papa Johns and should have went on the TB12. Like, let me eat super healthy and stretch more. Maybe I get an extra season out of my body. I don't know. Maybe it's just genetics. I don't know.
Yeah.
But what we're watching Mahomes do, tool his game, I think it's gonna bite us in the ass, Will, because like 10 years from now, he's going to be able to play that style of football where we didn't see Russell Wilson really try to adapt until it was too late. And now I don't think he can be as effective as he should be for a guy who's been in the league as long as he has.
Yeah, totally agree. No, yeah, he just, that is kind of the crazy part, that he has adapted his game just to fit like exactly what's needed. Like the defense is bad. All right, he's slinging the ball over the yard. Defense is really good. He's just playing the Brady game.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's separate awards for players.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
The comeback player of the year should be for injury. Bounce back player for a down year, and then an improved player. Guy didn't like you said, Kyron Williams, most improved player. Boom. Improved players are great for sophomore seasons too. It's like sometimes like you expect a lot from a rookie, but maybe they get hurt a little bit. It's not a serious injury, out with a hamstring, takes them a little bit to learn the offense, and then the next seasons when we should actually expect them, to be impactful. And then it's hard to gauge, like Sam Laporta probably should have really been considered for a rookie of the year because tight end's so hard to be effective.
Yeah.
Right away.
Yeah. There's no good rookie tight end.
And Dalton Kincaid too.
Him and Gronk, really.
Yeah. But anyway, who do you think's going to win the Super Bowl, Will? I mean, I think both you and I don't know if we think the Chiefs have the advantage versus we're just scared they're going to hurt us again.
I'll say this. I don't know why San Francisco is favored by 2.5.
Are they still favored?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't understand that for a second. I don't know how Vegas makes money off of that. But I got the local boys. I got the San Francisco 49ers.
Okay.
23-20.
Yeah. I think McCaffrey can be a legit difference. McCaffrey or Deebo Samuel, depending on what the Niners get. And I think Kyle Shanahan, he's learned from a bad mistake in the Super Bowl. He got there with Jimmy G. He's not going to get away from getting the ball to Christian McCaffrey. The Niners know that they need to run the ball against Kansas City, and it's the one thing you can have success doing against their defense. And I really do like the difference between like Isiah Pacheco and McCaffrey to me is because they're both very good and they're very good in different ways. Like Pacheco will grind and wear your ass out. He will wear an entire defense out, and it's crazy. But McCaffrey, his vision's insane. Their line, like the cohesiveness, him knowing what the line's going to do and where to pick his. That's why there's a big play from him every single fucking week.
McCaffrey's Pacheco's exactly that. It's like he's going to grind you down. McCaffrey's like you make one mistake and you're cooked. Like if you don't if you don't have gap integrity, it's over.
Like McCaffrey's impact is easy to see on a game, and I think for the Niners to win, we will have to see it. We'll have to be like, oh shit, yeah, he had 180 yards by the end of the game. Pacheco's is not, and I really think he might be the most important player on the Chiefs offense in terms of grinding out that win. I think the Niners should have a better plan for Kelce than the Ravens did, I think.
Well, they got better.
Like Pacheco could have 80 yards in that game, and it could be the most important 80 yards of the football game.
It's kind of like CJ Anderson.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's like he just kind of wore down on them a little bit.
Yeah.
Broke a couple, and then finally, the touchdown.
Yeah. I hate being so complimentary of Chiefs players.
Yeah, well, if they lose, we can go back to
hating them just relentlessly. Yeah. That's the other thing. I don't want them to get the back-to-back wins. That's important to me.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah. The back-to-back hurts. Like, that's a nice thing the Broncos have still. That's in, rare company.
Yeah, it hasn't happened since just the Patriots this century.
Yeah, that's why I started hating the Patriots. They took that away from us, like just a couple years after we did it. It's like, fuck these guys.
Yeah.
I rooted for them the first year, I think. I was like, yeah, these upstart Patriots. Cool. Let's get a Super Bowl, guys. And then they get the back-to-back. I'm like, don't like that people are talking about them and not the Broncos.
Yeah. Flacco can win. Why not Steelers?
He would have needed a few more games, I think. Right?
Yeah. Flacco played a little bit longer, I think.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, it's not, it's not a terrible comparison at all.
Shut up, Cole. Shut up.
Yeah. Screenshot that.
Shut up, Cole. Shut up. I mean, yeah, you got a chance. Or do you? Oh, last thing, then we're leaving. I swear to God. Let me pull this in. Because you and I wrote this together. Maybe your biggest betrayal of my integrity as a football talker would be your positive outlook on Josh Rosen in that draft.
That was a big mistake I had. Yeah.
That was one big mistake. Sure, we all make
that was me.
but somebody tweeted me this video, and I remember like one of my regrets is like not being high on Josh Allen when I should have been. But we did a Broncos mock draft, and our approach then was to just mock every decision you could make in the draft. We're like, it's ridiculous. This is what we had.
Let me show you how to say something that will probably come back to bite you in the ass. Whatever you do, Denver Broncos, do not take Josh Allen at number 5. I do not trust him at all right now. And now that I have said that, Josh Allen will probably be the only good quarterback from this draft. That's how unpredictable this stuff is.
We were spot on.
Crash it.
We were except for Lamar Jackson, also good.
Yeah.
Baker Mayfield, But that decision.
Oh, feels like yesterday, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. It does.
You had a cooler background now, though.
Yeah, thanks, Dad.
yeah. Brandon's dad, a tremendous woodworker.
Yeah. He can build anything.
Yeah.
No, I will not. I will not quit being a Josh stan. He's too good. He's too damn good. Yeah, you're gonna live with some turnovers. You lived with that with Favre. But Allen's like, he's better than Favre.
Turnovers are fun sometimes.
Yeah. All right. Thank you guys for watching this impromptu stream with Will. He's on Twitter at Guillermo Yaves. Don't forget, he helps me with everything here. Him, Johnny Barks, Rossi, the clickbait dudes. That's how we get through every season. I'll be live streaming the Super Bowl, so make sure you come back for that. And one last winners and losers, and either a Purdy or Mahomes episode next week. And we're working on a Spencer Rattler video. Whoa. Didn't expect us to be doing that this year. Is he our Josh Rosen?
He might be. Yeah, probably.
Okay. Bye.